The rain fell hard that night, the kind of cold, endless downpour that made the city feel lonelier than ever. Cars hissed past on the wet road, headlights cutting through mist and shadow. In the middle of it all, sitting on a curb beside a flickering streetlight, was a small girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old, clutching a broken crutch and a soaked backpack. She wasn't crying loudly, just quietly shaking, her breath coming in short gasps as she tried to shield herself from the rain. Her leg brace glinted in the dim light, and every few seconds she looked up the road as if waiting for someone who wasn't coming. That was when a sleek black car slowed to a stop nearby. The back door opened and a tall man stepped out holding an umbrella. He wore a dark coat, expensive shoes that instantly soaked in puddles, and a look of quiet confusion mixed with concern. "Hey," he said softly, kneeling beside her. "Are you okay? What are you doing out here?" The girl didn't answer at first. Her lips trembled and she held the broken crutch tighter. "My mom, she told me to wait here, but she didn't come back." The man, Alexander Reed, a reclusive millionaire and single father, felt something twist deep in his chest. He had come from a charity gala that night, where everyone smiled too wide and spoke too much about empathy but rarely showed any. Now here it was, real pain, raw and small, sitting right in front of him. "Where do you live?" he asked gently. "I don't know," the girl whispered. "We were staying in a shelter, but they closed it." The rain grew heavier. Alexander looked down at her trembling hands, the soaked clothes clinging to her tiny frame. Without thinking, he extended his hand. "Come with me. You'll catch your death out here." She hesitated, looking up at his face, searching for something. Then slowly she placed her small hand in his. When they reached his home, the girl gasped. The mansion stood like a castle against the storm, warm light glowing from its windows. She clung to her backpack, eyes wide, unsure if she even belonged inside. "It's okay," Alexander said softly, leading her in. "You're safe now." The staff stared in confusion, but he waved them away. "Get a towel, some soup, and call Dr. Evans." The girl sat by the fire, her wet hair curling in strands around her face. She didn't speak, only stared at the flames as they crackled. When the doctor arrived and checked her over, he whispered to Alexander, "She's underweight, exhausted. Been out in that rain too long. Whoever left her like that?" It wasn't just carelessness. Alexander nodded tightly. "I'll make sure she doesn't go back." Later that night, when she was wrapped in blankets and sipping soup, he sat across from her. "What's your name?" She looked up shyly. "Lila." "That's a beautiful name," he said with a smile. "My daughter's name was Emily. She loved music and storms." Lila tilted her head. "Was?" Alexander's smile faltered. He looked into the fire. "She passed away, a long time ago." There was silence for a moment before Lila whispered, "I'm sorry." He looked at her, this small, broken stranger, and for the first time in years, something inside him stirred, something he thought had died with his daughter. Days turned into weeks. Lila stayed in the guest room, though it slowly began to feel more like her own. She was quiet but curious, always watching, always listening. She followed the housekeeper around, helped in the kitchen, and spent hours in the garden with her repaired crutch. Alexander began to notice things, the way she hummed softly while drawing, how her laughter echoed through the hallways like sunlight breaking through clouds. She reminded him of Emily, but not in a way that hurt, in a way that healed. One morning, as he prepared for a meeting, he found her sitting at the piano in his study. The same piano his daughter once played. Her small fingers moved clumsily over the keys, but there was melody, fragile and pure. He stood silently by the door, watching her. When she noticed him, she froze. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to." "Don't apologize," he said, his voice soft. "That was beautiful," she smiled shyly. "I used to listen when my mom played before." Her voice trailed off. Alexander crouched beside her. "You can play any time you want, Lila. This house is your home now for as long as you need it." Her eyes widened. "Really?" He nodded. "Really?" For the first time, she threw her arms around him. It was awkward, sudden, but it broke something open inside him. A few weeks later, the storm returned. Thunder rumbling through the night, just like the evening they met. Alexander stood by the window watching the rain, when a knock came at the door. A woman stood outside, drenched and desperate. "I'm looking for my daughter," she said shakily. "Her name's Lila, please." I was wrong to leave her. I was scared. I didn't think anyone would help us. Lila, hearing her voice, appeared in the hallway, frozen in place. "Mom." Tears filled the woman's eyes as she dropped to her knees. "I'm so sorry, baby. I thought I was protecting you, but I just made things worse." Alexander stepped back, letting the two embrace. But his chest ached with a strange emptiness, the thought of losing Lila after she'd become part of his world. The woman looked up at him. "You took her in, didn't you? You saved her." He nodded silently. "She saved me too." She reached out a trembling hand. "Thank you, sir. I'll take her home now." Lila looked between them, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Do I have to go?" Alexander knelt beside her, his voice low. "You don't have to do anything you don't want to. But your mom loves you. She's your family." Lila clung to him, whispering, "So are you." It broke him completely. He swallowed hard, forcing a smile. "Then promise me one thing. Wherever you go, never stop playing music. And never forget how strong you are." She nodded, tears falling freely. "I promise." That night, Alexander watched from the doorway as they walked into the rain together, mother and daughter reunited. But as lightning flashed, Lila turned one last time, waving. He waved back, his heart full of something he hadn't felt in years. Peace.